A suicide bomber targets a political conference in northwest Pakistan, where hundreds of supporters of the Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam Fazl party were meeting.
I don't know how and what exactly happened. I just saw a spark and heard a big bang. I was sitting close to the stage and our leadership was nearby. After the blast, I saw hundreds of people lying on the ground and people started firing in the air.
Dozens of people were killed and hundreds injured. Some were airlifted to the provincial capital Peshawar for treatment, but most were taken to the city's main hospital.
Most of our wounded are in serious condition. My request to the governor and the administration in Peshawar is that they should make arrangements to treat these patients well. Also, I appeal to our party workers to go to the hospital for blood donation.
Bajaur district near the Afghan border was once a stronghold of the Pakistani Taliban before the army drove them out the area. Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam has ideological ties with the Pakistani Taliban. Analysts say that's likely to be the reason the group was targeted.
I do think it's likely that Islamic State Khorasan, the Pakistan-Afghanistan branch of Islamic State, was behind this attack. And the reason I say that is that indeed this Islamic State has targeted the JUI-F political party in the past, in great part because the JUI-F has, or some of its leaders at least, have expressed support for the Taliban, and Islamic State Khorasan is a rival of the Taliban.
Leaders of Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam say this attack was an attempt to intimidate supporters ahead of parliamentary elections in November. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Well, Kamal Haider is live in Bajaur. Kamal, you're at the site of the blast, so tell us first what you've learned, and also I understand you're with a counter-terrorism official. We will be very interested to hear what he has to say. Kamal, over to you.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm standing inside the tent, which is where the attack took place. There was about 400 party workers from the Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam. They were present here at the time. A suicide bomber penetrated the convention and blew himself up. Now, this place has seen a considerable rise in the number of terror attacks, and we have now with us the head of the counter-terrorism department, SHAUKAT ABBAS. First of all, sir, tell us, there's been a spike, a number of attacks, an increasing number of attacks. What is the reason for that?
It's not correct that there's been a spike in the incidents. It's happening for the last 2 months. There's been a spike. There was a lull period between January and I must say, June, there was a lull period. In June, July have witnessed a little bit of rise in the incidents of terrorism in this part of the world. Terrorism is basically is happening because of the combination of internal and external factors, especially in this part of this country, which is adjacent to a neighboring country. What's happening across the border is very relevant over here. Something which happens across the border has a triggering effect over certain events over here. It's a history spread over decades. The history is dictating a lot of things over here. So it cannot be said very simply that there was one factor which is triggering these kind of incidents. The multiple factors, internal and external, which are collectively causing these kind of incidents.
There is a suspicion that Daesh may be involved in this particular attack. Do you have any evidence to suggest that that is indeed the fact?
Daesh is a very notorious actor in this game of terrorism. We have recently arrested one of the gangs in Peshawar. There could be a possibility of their involvement over here. So far, we've been working on it, but it'll be premature to say anything conclusively about them, but we're working on it.
Well, that was the head of the counter-terrorism department. Now, it must be understood, as you saw in Victoria Gatenby's report, Bajaur is very close to the Afghan border. It straddles the province of Khar, just about 10 kilometers aerial distance. And also worth mentioning that After the US-led invasion of Afghanistan after the September 11th attacks, Al-Qaeda also found a safe haven here. This was the epicenter of the Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan. In 2006, the United States carried out a bombing raid in which Ayman al-Zawahiri, the #2 leader of Al-Qaeda, who took over after Osama bin Laden was killed, had a narrow escape in the mountains of Damadola, which is not very far from here. So according to the Counter-Terrorism Department, it is too early. However, we've been speaking to a number of people who say that there are deep suspicions that Daesh carried out this deadly attack.
Kamal, look, thank you very much for all that context, and it does shed light on some of the answers that your guest was giving you when he said that 20 years of history in Afghanistan are a significant factor in what just happened. Thank you very much, Kamal.